when women talk to men, like the part that bothers us is when you guys give us those tone and intonation that's aggressive, that's condescending, that's passive aggressive or dismissive. And unfortunately, a lot of women do that.
We are not paying them respect because we respect them. We're paying them respect because we don't want to get fired.
What you're saying is that it actually is transactional.
It's not
No,
transactional.
no, it's not that it's
reciprocal.
not, but it shouldn't be. In theory, it shouldn't,
shouldn't
be
be.
transactional, but everything about a relationship is transactional and performative by definition of those words.
It should always be in the back of there, like, oh, this person will leave me because this person has boundaries, and vice versa. You as a woman, you should have boundaries, and that man should understand that if you cross that boundary, you're serious about leaving him. Because if you're not serious, then yeah, he gonna do what he want.
It sounded like he wanted to absolve women of responsibility. Once we get to the point of patronizing them just to get to a certain space, that's when it's a problem for me, at least, because when you're emotional, right, you could be emotional at work, but somehow you still have the wherewithal to function the way that you're supposed to and not lose your job, right? When you're handling your children, you can become emotional, but it's never acceptable for you to abuse your child just because you're emotional, right? You still have to say in a responsible space. I don't think that your significant other should get any less respect. I think you should put that same effort into maintaining that part of the relationship because at every other time you're required to be a responsible adult and manage your emotions. So why is it okay at that point?
Could you just explain what that looks like? Because it seemed, well, actually, I want to just hear what that would look like for a woman to give the man in that, I guess, scenario to be emotions to the point where it doesn't overextend and turn into disrespect. What would that look like if she's being
Right.
emotional?
Yeah. So if you're being emotional, if it's something that you can't deal with at all, then maybe you just need to calm down. Whatever it is that you do in those spaces, like when something that you don't want to happen at work happens at work, whatever it is you do, whether you do a countdown, you concentrate on something else, whatever it is that you do to get back into a space where you can function normally, whatever the same techniques that you would administer just for that type of a scenario, why can't you apply that to the partner that you're with?
With your spouse, you're saying to act like you're in a corporate setting and control your
You don't have
emotion.
to act like you're in a court. Yeah, yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say sometimes in relationships, it seems like women are not allowed to be emotional because, again, when you are with your spouse, if it's healthy emotion, right? She's not insulting or being disrespectful or, God forbid, like physical, then it seems like everything else outside of that is also kind of lumped into being quote unquote disrespectful. And
Oh,
to a woman, it kind of comes off as you're not allowed to be emotional because the comparison is, again, how come you can control it when you're dealing with coworkers or your boss? I'm dealing with my spouse. I'm not insulting. I'm not, again, being disrespectful or, I'm just emotional in the moment.
I think that you're drawing a line
Well, that's I think
that we're not. Because again, it's where the quiet
right.
part needs to be said out loud. Those are the emotions we're talking about. We're not talking about the things that come with you being a girl, but like the being disrespectful, saying the being aggressive, the argumentative, all of that. Those are the emotions we're talking about. The rest of that cute girly shit, men aren't complaining about those things. And when we talk about being professional at work, it's not saying for you personally. It should be common sense. This is what we're talking about. Give us the same respect emotionally that you give your boss, who literally does less for you, is
Uh,
less to you, and will also expects more. I mean, and it also expects less of you.
Absolutely. But that's why I said, can you give an example? Because respect in some cases could be subjective. Some people will literally take a woman, her
Oh,
tone being a certain way as disrespectful, when in reality, she's not insulting or being disrespectful.
well,
She's just emotional.
her intent behind it may not to be disrespectful, but again, if a rational person, people, there's standards that we have that are set, and being condescending is typically seen as being disrespectful, being rude. But then
I'll push
also
back on
we have
that
to
point.
understand. difference between intonation and your tone. And that's where a lot of women go wrong. They use those two words synonymously, and they're not opposites. I mean, they're kind of related, but they're still a little different. So your intonation is saying like, well, yeah, I didn't do that. To be like, or I didn't do that. That's not tone. Tone is like, I ain't do that. I ain't do that. See, the tone is different there. And when women talk to men, like the part that bothers us is when you guys give us those tone and intonation that's aggressive, that's condescending, that's passive aggressive or dismissive. And unfortunately, a lot of women do that. And there's a study out here, I think the University of West Australia put it out, that says that a lot of westernized women don't mature emotionally past the age of 14, which is why you see so many of those negative emotions being prevalent. So when Trev gives you that example, you would never talk to your boss that way. Your boss could tell you the most, well, on average. Some of y'all can fight, so I get it. But or come from money, so that's fine. But on average, y'all go in there and it's yes, sir, no, sir. Okay, right away, I'll get to it. You know, whatever you want, Master Johnson. Like that's the type of employees y'all are. But men don't get that at home. They don't get that same type of cooperation, concern, or care at home when it's your husband. Like, how many of y'all give your man a silent treatment? Like, that's a common thing that women do. They don't want to talk to you. They pretend like they don't know what the issue is. They don't want to address it because they haven't emotionally processed their emotions. And if you get a good one, she just won't talk to you, but she'll say, hey, listen, I don't know how to talk about this right now because I'm emotional. Let's wait. But a lot of y'all are just shut down and close the door and go in your room and get on your phone.
Because
I don't want you to think. I'm just going to respond to it real quick. It's only going to be a few seconds. But I don't want you to think that we don't leave a space for women to be emotional. In general, men become very supportive when they realize that their woman is emotional, right? We just don't want any of that directed at us in a way that is hostile.
Absolutely, but I was just trying to understand like how you draw the correlation between like a corporate setting and like dealing with your spouse, because when you're in a corporate setting, it's not necessarily a safe space. It's not, an environment where you can, openly speak the way you would amongst, even acquaintances or your friends, let alone your spouse. So I don't know where that correlation came into where like you want your spouse to deal with you the same way she would deal with her boss. Because
I think I can
No,
help. I think
so
I
we
can
don't
help with
want
that.
you to deal with it in that way. We don't want you to act like you're in a corporate setting, but what we're saying is that we realize that you have the capability of conducting yourself to where you can manage those emotions, and that's the only correlation I would make with that.
But the
And
only
I
thing
think it's
about
this.
that is, sorry, the only
Go ahead.
just real quick, the only thing about that is that you all are failing to see why women are having a hard time making the same correlation that y'all do. We are not paying them respect because we respect them. We're paying them respect because we don't want to get fired.
Then
And I'm like,
pay
it's
us the
not,
same
and
respect.
I
You won't get divorced.
understand. No. I understand that, right? But what I'm saying is, like, that relationship is purely transactional. My relationship with my husband is not transactional. It's reciprocal. So like I should not I should not be fearing anything with you. Like I want my respect for you to come because you are my husband. I want everything that I do to you and for you to be because I love and respect you.
Right
If
now.
you are not doing no. I'm saying so respect should never waver for your husband. Respect and love should never waver. I might not like you all the time, but the love will always be there. The respect will always be there. If you got a woman that does not respect you, no matter what, you don't need to be with her. So that respect should be there. If that respect is not there, there is something that you are not doing. And you cannot expect anything from me if you are not doing your job to make me give that to you.
So respect should
Can I
always
get in there real quick?
but it's got to be earned. So what you're saying is that it actually is transactional.
It's not
No,
transactional.
it's not that it's
reciprocal.
not, but it shouldn't be. In theory, it shouldn't be
shouldn't be.
transactional, but everything about a relationship is transactional and performative by definition of those words. Because if that person was not transacting the things that you want and performing the things you want performed, you wouldn't be with them. You wouldn't love them. You wouldn't respect them. You wouldn't be attracted to them. So the idea of a woman should be able to be respectful while she's upset, wholeheartedly agree.
Mhm.
However, that's only good in theory. And if, again,
You don't think that happens?
no, I think a lot of things happen. I can say that I would bet every dollar I have that doesn't happen more often than it does.
Oh, okay.
Like that's I'll die on that hill.
Mhm.
Because again, just a perfect example. All you have to, I tell you all the time, all you gotta do is let somebody talk. You want to know why the way that, like, when I'm debating someone, one of the easiest ways for me to win is to piss the woman off. Like, that's the easiest way to win a debate, is because I tap into their emotional frailty immediately. It works every time. If you look back at every debate I've had, that's why I'm undefeated, because it works every time. You act as if, like, you're saying that I should be able to be like this at home because you're my husband. Why is it that as your husband, I get the worst of you, and when I'm supposed to give you my best, but your boss, like that, you said you don't want to get fired, but you're not worried about losing that job more than you're worried about losing me. That's the part that's insane to me, because the moment that a man says that he's worried about losing anything more than your wife, not you specifically, generally speaking, y'all's lips are stuck out.
But I
Like-
think that's where, like,
Yeah.
men take it personal, like, in my opinion, because again, like, when you're dealing, let's say, for example, I know it's a horrible example because I'm not comparing women to children, but when you're dealing with children, you know, when they're, like, in school, for example, they act a certain way. When they're home, they act a certain way. When they're in their quote unquote safe space, they act a certain way. Amongst siblings, it's different as well. As a parent, you wouldn't take it personal if your child was misbehaving amongst their siblings, because that's part of development. This is their safe space. If they're not going to be quote unquote rowdy at home, you know, and you know, all that, where are they going to be able to have that outlet to do that? So
Yeah,
with women, I don't understand why it's taken so personally, when again, she's emotional in the moment. It's
because
not
it's
a
our-
personal attack to you. It could
because
just
it's our
be
woman. That's what we take everything our woman does personally, because it's our woman. But I understand why you feel that way, because you think that if your kids are being bad with their siblings, it's still okay because they're at home and they deserve that outlet. But that's, again, not a knock on your parent at all. But men, we don't look at it that way. We don't want our kids misbehaving anywhere.
I didn't say misbehaving. I said, you know, again, if they argue
I think you
amongst
said misbehaving amongst their siblings.
no, if
specifically.
they're like rowdy with if they, you know, argue, that's normal sibling, you know, behavior. You can't expect siblings to grow up, you know, in a
But
perfect
what we
environment. They
can
never
do is
fight.
respect them to argue with respect.
Absolutely, and that's what I was saying.
That's what I'm saying. And that's
Even
the
with
same
the
thing we expect
emotional
you guys to do.
factor.
So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. Even with the
it's
emotional
identical
factor,
now.
she's not, like I said earlier, even with her being emotional, she's not dabbling into being disrespectful or insulting or, you know, anything of that nature. She's just being emotional.
Yeah, we're not talking about that
Yeah.
though. We're talking about being disrespectful, emotional, aggressive, and those
But
things.
a lot of the examples you gave are examples of women being emotional.
Yeah.
And it's
Can I push
being
back, because I
Mhm.
think it's disrespectful. Like, even when you talk about the arguing with the siblings, that's because you don't respect your siblings like you respect, you know, these other people and places and things. It's just the reality of it, right? I think it's disrespectful to be inconsiderate. And I think in these situations, you're considering your boss. You're considering a lot of things in the way that you talk to your boss. You're not considering anything in the way that you talk to your man. So I completely understand what you're saying, but I think it's just flat out, it is disrespectful. And I think, though, in all honesty, the divorce rate kind of tells you that a lot of women just like, yeah, nigga, we'll deal the divorce. I don't care. Like, I think it's a lack of respect, if we being honest. And I never really dealt with that in my relationships, because I'm, you know, maybe I choose different types of women, but the women always respected me. You know, there was always a fear of us not being together, to a degree. I'm not saying it was like an active fear, but it should always be in the back of there, like, oh, this person will leave me because this person has boundaries, and vice versa. You as a woman, you should have boundaries, and that man should understand that if you cross that boundary, you serious about leaving him. Because if you're not serious, then yeah, he gonna do what he want.